on day one, Emmanuel Macron made this speech about that, this is the time for Europe, and we're going to come and build AI ecosystems. From the India perspective, even though we were co-chairs, I feel like we didn't get the appropriate space to chisel the agenda. I think that while Prime Minister Modi spoke, and I have to say, in the middle of all of this chaos with Macron talking about, build, 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 and J.D. Vance, who's the Vice President of the United States, who also spoke on day two and talked about almost like, let's get rid of regulation. Regulation is not good for our companies. In the midst of all of this, I felt that Prime Minister Modi's speech was actually quite balanced. He talked about risks from AI. He talked about the idea of rivalry and how we need to move beyond that. He talked about citizen centricity. He talked about making AI work for us versus the other way around. And in like I said, like in the cacophony, Prime Minister Modi made a lot of sense. And the next AI summit is in India, so something for us to watch out for. But I was a bit disappointed, like with the depoliticization of the space. I think that we didn't talk enough about, like I said, the politics of AI governance. What happens when you have, global power saying we don't want regulation? What happens where you actually have a major defunding of entities that actually look at governance? There was a lot of funder mobilizing. So a lot of philanthropists were also going into huddles to think about how they make up for some of the governance deficit in the context of AI. Um, and I think that the other issue I had is that we didn't deal enough with questions of, the power dynamic, that the AI landscape is actually in the hands of a few countries, which
Yeah.
do live in one country, and all of that. And so what is the sort of much more global, distributed, democratic position? I think India has an opportunity to frame some of that if we do a good job of the next AI summit, which is likely going to be Feb 2026, and the opportunity to take a leadership position. But we need to start making the right sounds now.
Now, that's so interesting. And there's so many strands to what you said. Firstly, thank you for sharing that, like in a nutshell, what we would have missed. One thing that's really fascinating is this idea that it could go so differently if there was public interest based AI.